Ariane Barbara Laureano de Oliveira was 18 years old and was born in Goiás, a state in Brazil. She studied at Professor Pedro Gomes State School, located in the city of Goiânia, where Ariane lived with her mother, hairdresser Eliane Laureano da Silva, 35 years old. The young woman had the dream of becoming a veterinarian. However, she had stopped studying due to being bullied at school due to her short stature. She was even going to resume her studies at another school, a private school that her mother had already started paying for. According to Eliane, she had a very good relationship with her daughter, and despite being a single mother, she did everything to give her the best. Eliane also said that her daughter never did drugs or got involved with anything like that, and that she used to go out a lot, but always talked about where she was going and even sent videos of the place she was with her friends. On the night of August 24, 2021, Ariane was at home and was already getting ready to sleep, even having put on her pajamas. But around 7 p.m., she received a message from some friends inviting her to have a snack, saying that they would pick her up at home. Ariane accepted and said that she just needed a few minutes to get ready and let her mother know via WhatsApp that she wasn't home at the time. Eliane had left to go to the bank to make a deposit, and it was around 7:30 p.m. that she received messages from her daughter saying she was going out with her friends for a snack. Ariane even warned that she would return the same day and asked her mother to leave the living door open because she would only take the key to the gate, so she wouldn't have to wake her mother when she got home. Along with the texts, the young woman also sent a voice message to her mother, where you can hear how happy she was to have been invited by her friends.
As meninas me chamaram pra ir comer lá no Jaó, vamos pagar a broca hoje, aí eu tô indo. Elas vão me buscar de carro hoje. Aí eu vou, né? Vai pagar comida e vai me buscar de carro e me deixar em casa, sou besta.
Eliane would never have imagined that this would be the last time she would speak to her daughter. At 11:15, Eliane decided to send messages to her daughter, since a few hours had passed and the young woman hadn't been in touch, and every time she went out, she would send videos to her mother not be worried, as I mentioned earlier. In the messages, Eliane asked her daughter what time she would arrive, but got no response. The next day, Eliane got up and noticed that her daughter still hadn't returned to the house. Very worried, she sent a message at 7:48 a.m. to the young woman asking, "Ariane, where are you?" And again, Eliane got no response. Eliane then went to the police to report her daughter's missing. 3 days passed and the woman had no news of her daughter. Desperate, she decided to go to the press to ask for help, and in this way, the case ended up reverberating throughout the country. Both the mother and the police spoke with Ariane's friends who had gone out with her the night she disappeared. According to them, they all went to eat, and after hanging out a little, they left the girl in a place called Lago das Rosas, and from there, she said she would go home alone. They even said they couldn't talk to her anymore since the day they all left together. Due to the media coverage of the case, it had some repercussions in the region where Ariane lived. Many people came to help with the searches and with information, but even so, the young woman was not found. On the morning of August 31, 2021, 7 days after the disappearance, residents of Setor Jawa neighborhood called the police after feeling a strong smell coming from a forested area close to where they lived. The police went to the place. When they arrived, they followed the smell through the woods and found a female body in advanced state of decomposition. Due to the condition in which the body was found, it was not possible to identify it at the time, and there was also no documents in the pockets that could help the police with this. Despite not being able to immediately identify the body, the police already suspected that it could belong to Ariane. Later, the body was identified through fingerprints, and the police suspicion was confirmed. It was really the young Ariane Barbara, only 18 years old. Still in the examination, it was found that the cause of death was asphyxiation and 3 perforations caused by a sharp object with a blade, possibly a knife. Upon receiving the news, the young woman's relatives were devastated, especially Ariane, the girl's mother. In interviews, visibly shaken, she even said that she couldn't believe it and that for her, it was as her daughter was still alive. Many sympathized with Ariane's pain. After all, losing a child is one of the worst things that can happen to a person. The woman received numerous messages of support on her social media and on her cell phone. One of these messages was from one of the friends who was with Ariane on the day she disappeared and had her life taken away. His name was Enzo Giacomini Carneiro Matos, an 18-year-old who sent the following message to the victim's mother. "My deepest condolences. I love your daughter. She didn't deserve this." Due to the state of the body, Ariane couldn't be veiled and was buried directly, which caused more pain to the family and friends who couldn't even say goodbye to her properly. The news of the young woman's death shook the entire city of Goiânia, even more so because the victim was so young and had no involvement with the crime, completely fleeing the pattern of victims of crimes of the same nature. Rumors began to emerge. One of them was that there was a possible maniac operating in the region. Obviously, this made residents even more afraid, even though the police didn't confirm the information. Another one was that the young woman had an ex-boyfriend who didn't accept the end of the relationship, and with that, he killed her. However, her own mother said in an interview that the girl didn't have a boyfriend, and would certainly know if she did, as her daughter told her everything. Later, the press released the information that Ariane had never had a relationship with a man, making the rumor that a possible ex-boyfriend was the author of the crime to be denied. The police had to double down investigations to find out who was the author or the authors of this brutal crime. They also avoided talking to the press so as not to interfere with the investigations. At first, everything pointed to a possible crime of passion due to how it all happened. But after collecting information from friends, family, and especially the victim's mother, the investigators decided to follow another line of investigation, since this one was not sustainable. Later, investigators found out from the young woman's mother that she had been receiving threats because of some tattoos she had gotten and didn't pay for. According to Ariane, her daughter told her that she was being threatened because of a painting issue regarding tattoos she had done, but it is not clear how these threats were. With this information, the investigators decided to go after the person who made these tattoos. However, according to some news portals, a cousin of the young woman stated there was no doubt that even the tattoo artist responsible for the tattoos sent an audio to the mother of the victim, stating that he gave Ariane tattoos for free. This was a little confusing, as the young woman's mother claimed that the daughter told her that she was being threatened because of these tattoos. Either there was just a miscommunication, or this tattoo artist got scared, since if he did intend to threaten the girl, that would make him the prime suspect in the case. The cafeteria worker where Ariane was supposedly the night she disappeared confirmed that she was actually there. He told the police that she ate with some friends and that afterwards the group headed towards the neighborhood where Ariane's body was found. Despite the best efforts of the police, they didn't have any potential suspects other than the tattoo artist who really didn't seem to have any involvement in the crime. The family also had no idea who could be responsible, especially since Ariane was never involved in the wrong things, as I mentioned earlier. Both the family and the police were looking for answers. Could this be one more among the thousands of homicides that occur every year in Brazil that remain unsolved? Not this time. On September 15, 2021, the Homicide Department police arrested 3 young suspects for the crime against Ariane Barbara Laureano. These young people were the same ones who invited the victim to have a snack. They are 19-year-old Raíssa Nunes Borges, 22-year-old Jefferson Cavalcante Rodrigues, and 18-year-old Enzo Giacomini Carmelo Matos. Yes, this Enzo is the same one who sent messages of condolences to Ariane's mother, saying that he loved her and that she didn't deserve this. Now with the arrest of the possible perpetrators of the crime, it remained to be seen why they did this to the girl and what she did to them to deserve such a horrible fate. The truth is, that Ariane didn't do anything to them, and the motive for the crime is so banal that it's hard to believe. Raissa Borges, in her statement to the police, stated that she only did what she did because she wanted to know if she would feel remorse or not. That's right. Raissa committed the crime against an 18-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her for the simple reason that she had a delusional self-doubt. She said that if she felt remorse for the crime, she would know that she was wrong about herself, but if she didn't, she would be sure of who she really is, and according to the police, she showed no remorse, let alone regret. According to the police, Raissa Borges was the one who planned the whole crime and even managed to convince Jefferson and Enzo to help her. What impresses me is the ease with which people can convince others to do evil. It's absurd. Raissa also said that she had nothing against Ariane and only chose her because the young woman was thin and short and that it would be easy to dominate her if she reacted. Later, the police apprehended a 16-year-old teenager who also allegedly participated in the crime and who even sent a message to the victim inviting her out. After collecting information through the testimonies of witnesses and the 4 accused of the crime, the police were able to assemble the order of the facts of that night and how the crime occurred. According to them, on the night of August 24, 2021, Ariane was at home when she received a message on her cell phone from the 16-year-old teenager inviting her to have a snack with some other friends. That was around 7 p.m., and the teenager said through the messages that she and some friends would stop by Ariane's house to pick her up, and after eating they would drop her off home again. The young woman was very happy with the invitation, and after she accepted, she sent messages followed by an audio to her mother, who was not at home, warning her that she would go out with some friends but that she would be back on the same day. A little before 8 p.m., Raissa, Jefferson, Enzo, and the teenager picked up Ariane in front of her house. Then they went to a snack bar near Lago das Rosas. After eating, the group headed to the Setor Jaó neighborhood, about 4 miles from where they were, and it was during the journey, still inside the vehicle, that Ariane was killed. In the vehicle, Jefferson was behind the wheel, Enzo was in the passenger seat, and behind were Ariane, Raissa, and the teenager. The group had planned the crime the day before, and they wanted everything to go exactly as planned. The plan consisted of putting music in the car. This music was chosen specially by Raissa, who wanted it to be played while she committed the crime. When they put the music in the car, it played for a while, until a moment agreed by them in a part of the music, Jefferson snapped his fingers. That would be the signal to Raissa to go after Ariane. Raissa tried to attack Ariane, but because she was thin and not very strong, the victim was able to react and fight against her. Enzo, realizing that Raissa wouldn't be able to fight Ariane alone, decided to jump into the back seat to help her. He assumed Raissa's position and dominated the young woman until she fainted. After that, Raissa, together with the teenager, took Ariane's life. Then, the criminals went to Setor Jaó, and there they abandoned the victim, who was only found 7 days later. According to some information, Raissa and the teenager knelt next to Ariane, already lifeless, for about 10 minutes, but it's not clear why they did that. The vehicle used in the crime had a trunk lined up in the plastic so that Ariane could be transported without leaving blood marks in the compartment. After the crime, the group would still have gone to a snack bar next to a mall to sort of celebrate the feat. Police managed to catch up the criminals after checking security cameras around the area where Ariane was found. Through recorded images, the police were able to identify the vehicle used in the crime and later the driver who drove it that day. They went after the man, who was Jefferson. In his house, the clothes and knives used on the day of the crime were found. When he was arrested, he ended up confessing everything and handed over the other accomplices. Jefferson, Raissa, and Enzo were arrested on the same day, while the minor was arrested the next day. The police also discovered that Raissa had made a list with 3 names of possible people who could be the victims. From this list, as we know, the first one chosen was Ariane, who being short and thin, theoretically would not offer much resistance. The irony is that of the three names on the list, one was Jefferson Cavalcante Rodriguez, and he had no idea about it. Probably, if they hadn't been arrested, Raisa would also kill him as soon as she had the chance. The police reported that none of the accused had criminal records, and that they were all reclusive, quiet, and didn't seem capable of committing such a terrible act. Despite this, they declared themselves to be demon worshippers, and in searches of Raisa's house, the police found a crucifix turned upside down. This raised the theory that perhaps the group was part of some cult, and that it was all some kind of ritual. This theory was widely explored by the media, and a journalist even said that this group could be just a cell of something bigger, and that more victims could arise. But as far as we know, the police didn't confirm any of this information, making us believe that it was just sensationalism. According to Marcos Gomez, the delegate responsible for the case, each participant in the crime already had a predefined role. The teenager would be responsible for sending a message to Ariane with the intention of luring her into the ambush. Jefferson would be responsible for taking the car, the two knives that were used in the crime, and lining the trunk with plastic bags so that they could transport the victim's body to the place of disposal. Raisa would be the one to complete the crime, and Enzo would support and cover the group if they needed it. The police also find out that it was actually the teenager who was responsible for devising the whole plan, and that it was even she who had the initiative to complete the crime and not Raisa. According to them, the minor claims to be a person without any remorse and has great influence on Raisa Borges, so she would have suggested to the young woman that she committed the crime to find out if she was also a person who doesn't feel remorse. Despite the young woman declaring herself a person without remorse, and now Raisa too, the delegate stressed that only a medical report could prove such a statement. Still, according to the police, days before being arrested, the teenager sent messages to Ariane's mother, asking for forgiveness, saying that she was sorry and that she could have avoided the crime but was weak and couldn't. She also gave information about the crime by telling a little about what happened that night. However, according to the police chief Marcos Gomez, the teenager showed no regrets during her statements to the police. Marcos also said that of the four accused of the crime, only Jefferson showed regret. Raisa, Enzo, and Jefferson are at the disposal of justice until the conclusion of the police investigation, after which they will be charged and wait their judgment in a detention center. If convicted, they could face a sentence of more than 30 years just for the murder, and with the aggravating factors, that sentence could increase. The 16-year-old teenager is under arrest, and if convicted, she will be held in a detention facility for minors until she turns 18, and unfortunately, as we know, she will live with a clean record and will probably claim other victims. Eliane, Ariane's mother, said she was happy with the arrest of those responsible for the crime against her daughter, but she still feared that they would be released earlier than she expected and claim more victims. She is very shaken by what happened, said that she misses her daughter a lot, and that she has not yet assimilated the fact that she will never be able to see her again. Her daughter was her everything, and she was taken from her in a horrible way. The two were not just mother and daughter, they were also best friends and shared everything with each other. Now what remains are just memories, memories that Eliane will never forget. Alright folks, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching until the end. Best wishes, and I see you next time.